Prairie Princess 5. Let's try again. Now, I've done countless videos. Let's start with this, because there's so much to cover. You might remember Klaus Schwab. It's all over the internet. I think it was 2019. He was at Davos. He was asked by a press pundit, well, your one world governance. What do you think that term means, one world governance? Anyways, moving along. Klaus responded, the way we do it, I'm not going to paraphrase him here. You can check out one of my videos on my main channel, or you can find this anywhere, should you care to. Klaus saying, the way we do it is we penetrate the governments. And he mentioned specifically Trudeau. He said, in fact, I am most proud of the Young Global Leaders graduate, Justin Trudeau. And I know for a fact we've penetrated 50%, more than 50% of his government. I've fact-checked that from the World Economic Forum. 29 out of 39 cabinet ministers, that's 74%. Anyways, where did you find that antiquated piece of tripe? 200 people attended Davos? What was that, from 1971 or 2? Ha! There's 200 pickpockets attend Davos. There's like 3,500 Young Global Leaders graduate WEF members that attend. Excuse me, I have a terrible cold. I'm running a fever. Anyways, where do we go to next? Stop reading the sales brochures, okay? They make everything sound good. Again, what do you think global governance means? Example, Trudeau, the last time, it might have been at the UN address. The UN and the WEF are one, right? There's no debate about that. I know you all have trouble getting your head around it, but it is so. Said the threat to global democracy is misinformation. And if you go and listen to what they talk about at Davos, mis and disinformation must be stopped. It's a threat to their agenda. They say it. So then we have Bill C-11 in Canada, where we can't attach news links. And the big social media carriers said, even when it was in Parliament, they said, hey, if you pass this junky bill, it's extortion. You want us to pay money, big sums of money. We're not going to do it. So the Canadian people won't get to attach news links and won't see news popping up on their feeds. You can go find it, but it doesn't pop up. Now, Trudeau or Chrystia Freeland didn't come home with a bill from the Board of Trustees saying that, right? They all attended Davos and came back and tabled that bill. That's why I talked about Ursula von der Leyen and the EU Commission, and how Ursula von der Leyen sits on the Board of Trustees, and it goes down the food chain through the EU commitments to stay in the EU governance, the EU whatever it's called, the whole 29 member countries. Macron, France. Macron, Young Global Leaders graduate, WEF member, former Board of Trustees, I do believe, if I remember correctly. Do you think he tells his populace our immigration policies come from the World Economic Forum? They do, but he doesn't say that. There's no bill. You're stuck on this bill thing. Okay, the edicts proceed down the food chain. They don't need bills. Good grief. One world governance. Where are they in Canada? You said I didn't even mention Canada. I summated by saying 29 out of 39. What's Trudeau? 12 out of 15 Senate members. He posted our WEF. Chrystia Freeland's entire upper management structure, and she sits on the Board of Trustees. We've covered that. You gotta listen to what they say. Don't read the headlines of their glossy sales brochures. Now, as to the Young Global Leaders program, it's a 3-year program. No, I don't know if they get a certificate, a trophy, a pat on the head at the end of it. Look at what their curriculum is. You'll see it. Global governance. Ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba. Look at their curriculum. I just covered Sean Fraser, although I glossed over about a third of his curriculum. At the end of the 3 years, I don't know. Maybe Klaus blesses them. They get to kiss his noble ring. I don't know what happens. They're pretty secretive, really. You gotta dig. Stop reading the brochure headlines. Egads, woman. But after they graduate, they become an alumni of the World Economic Forum, and they pay an annual due of between $11,000 and $22,000 US to maintain their active WEF status. Why that different spread is, I don't know. The WEF is pretty secretive about their monies. Last year in Davos, the money dropped was, what was it, 33 million just to host the event in Davos. There were a little more than 200 people there. Hey, take a look at Bill C-293. Check that one out, Princess. Oh yeah, that's where our government takes our sovereign rights over health, food, land, yes, transportation, supply chains. And then go take a look at the WHO Pandemic Accord. Do you see a similarity there? Whoa, yeah, big time. And the WHO, the IMF, the World Bank, just to name a few. The heads of them sit on the board of trustees, or the board of, what's the other one? Forum, whatever. The two head councils. I just did a video on the head of the UN. The UN signed a treaty, more than one, with the WEF to hasten Agenda 2030. What's Agenda 2030? Global governance? Yeah, it is, Princess. You've probably lost your focus long before now. You only made it halfway through the first video before you went off the rails. Cognitive dissonance kicked in. They don't come home with a bill. They come home with an idea, and they become bills that become law in Canada because we can't stop the Trudeau government, which is 80% WEF members. They go through the Senate because they're WEF members, and we get WEF edicts like Bill C-11, 18, 21, 63, and check out 293, Princess. Did I miss anything? You had these questions that were unanswered. You left them unanswered because you didn't think about them. And I'm rehashing things here, and this video is dragging way on. Probably lost you a long time ago, Princess. Egads. Hey, no one wants to believe that the self-proclaimed global elitists are taking over everything. I don't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I can't deny it. Willful ignorance. Denial provides no sanctuary. Their plan's rolling along, and it's clearly on the table. In summation, back to Canada. 2 years ago, the Canadian government website was promoting 15-minute cities. I did a series of videos on them. I brought it up on the screen. There it is, 15-minute cities, Canada.ca, and the WEF logo right there, clear, plain as day. Hundreds of videos were done across Canada about that with the WEF logo and the 15-minute cities and the Q40 agenda right there. That's all scrubbed now because people are catching on. They changed the term one world governance to global governance. Changing the word doesn't change, changing the words, I should say, doesn't change the intent. It's like they don't talk about 15-minute cities in the Q40 agenda anymore. They have sustainable development goals. I think you've mentioned those before. You went to their sales pamphlet, and there's a bunch of word salad that sounds nice. Gender equality and sustainable development goals. read down into the bottom of Sustainable Development Goals. Alternate sources of protein. It's right there. Stop skimming the headlines, princess. I know you don't want to accept it, but yeah. And the IDU, the International Democracy Union. How many Western countries are being run on a federal level by conservatives? Not very many. Not very many at all. All the Western countries seem to have the same problems. Economics, mass migration, inflation. They all have WEF leaders. What a coincidence. Yeah. Anyways, princess, in summation, the reason I follow you, and I can't help but comment, that's just serves as a source of amusement to me. It's small and petty, I know, but maybe one of your followers will go, hey, wait a minute, maybe I should think about what one world governance means, just as an example. But basically, I follow you and your fellow ABC, anything but conservative people, because what I see is the effect of the psych department from Davos working through the mainstream or legacy media, whichever term you prefer, on the minds of the populace. So ask yourself this one, princess. Why would a group that's just for people to get together and do business deals, why would they have a psych department? They're proud of it. They talk about it. They talk about their nudge unit, right? Why would they have a psych department and a nudge unit and be influencing the population? Global governance.